Animation, just like the comics, would be a nice addition to the franchise. I know people say that PR should never be animated, it'd just be like every other superhero show out there, but there's no reason for both not to exist alongside each other. It'd be an interesting way to show to branch off while the main series moves forward. The one thing fans always want is the world to stay active. There's people who love Mystic Force, RPM, MMPR. All these seasons leave storylines and ideas behind. With an animated show, it's easier to revisit these seasons. It wouldn't be hampered by location constraints, actors' age, or stock footage. While these things can be done in the comics, comics have a limited reach. With an animated show, either CG or traditional, it would complement the series. It also allowed writers to come back. I always talk about how I feel about a season. There's gotta be writers from the show who are disappointed or they wish they were able to do more. This would allow them that opportunity. You want the Megazord to fight with the Q-Rex? It'd be doable. All those monsters that turn good, bring them back. The one thing that would be the biggest draw is the actors. You could easily bring anyone back for any type of story. You want a Forever Blue? Here. You like to have a story where Danny and Max bump into Tommy while he's working with Anton Mercer prior to DT? That's possible. There could be 3 different types of animated series done. One that's original, meaning everything new, all the designs, the team, it would be its own thing. Another way they can go is to do like an anthology series where they take ideas from all the seasons and tell mini stories or arcs around them. A third option is to continue seasons, put them between episodes, post episodes, things like that. Thanks goes to Dare Fiese Andy, I hope I'm saying that right. If you have an idea or topic you'd like me to cover, leave a comment below, I might use it in a future video.
Operation Overdrive.
This season lost an opportunity. I like the idea that the team had to journey around the world to find the pieces of the crown, but not much was ever done. We got the Thor episode, which was the best journey. That's really it. Everything else looked the same. Animation would allow us to see these cities. You're in Hong Kong, we're gonna see Hong Kong. You can tell different stories that can overall link to another connection. There was a CGI Iron Man series called Armored Adventures, which went around the world to find the Mandarin rings. That scope is what made the show feel bigger instead of it always taking place in New York. It also used Stark's riches to their advantage, which was another thing that didn't get used all that much to Overdrive's potential. We didn't even get to see more of the mansion. It's their base. Spencer didn't get much to do. An animated series can also help in the genetic modification powers. They would use them more often. Rose would sneak into locations, Dax would jump on roofs, Mac could push cars out of the way. We could also see Will's expertise as a thief. These are episodes they could do featuring their abilities. Even just seeing Ronnie race would be an improvement. That's what disappoints me the most. They set up these big background set pieces but can't afford to show them. Mac being a robot would be really cool. Seeing him being repaired, do upgrades like the Terminator. Focus more on why Hartford made him. Tyson's Mercury power. He could turn himself into liquid and get around locks. Overdrive, or at least the characters, would have more substance.
SPD.
Lots of things to do here. If SPD was ever animated, I could easily see it like the animated Men in Black series. They would be so free to have a ton of aliens. We go to other planets to see other SPD teams, see Kruger's planet. What is it like inside a containment card? Boom would work great as a cartoon character. It's semi-futuristic, which they could show off on how New Tech City looks like. We didn't get much in that area. Plus they could do Piggy episodes. What else did Grum's ship do besides being a transformer? The biggest improvement by far would be Sam. Do the time travel paradox story for him. Show him. See him become the Omega Ranger, then not do the ball of light, or make it an ability which he can turn off. I just want Sam fixed. I wanted to like the character. I thought the Z-Sam bond was a nice idea.
RPM.
There's one show that was similar to RPM story. That was the 1993 Sonic cartoon series. I really loved that show because it was an original idea that took the basic elements from the games and did a dark, funny, touching show. RPM had the same idea, but they couldn't show us how the world worked, or really go into depth on Dr. K and the twins. Animation would grant us the ability to see all of this. How did humans become cyborgs? What happened to the world? Is there other people still alive? We had a lot of questions left over when it finished. This would be a good way to show off these things. Corinth itself was a cool concept, but they really didn't do anything with it. There was no backlash from the people, seeing the hardship that they had to deal with. What was the place capable of? At some point they could make corns fly, give extra security. How does even the dome work? Do these type of episodes. RPM being on that dead planet, cool stuff can be done in a large scale. Huge Zord fights in destroyed cityscapes. There's nothing to worry about. Grab a building and chuck it at the monster. That's the type of scale Power Rangers hasn't done before.
Mystic Force.
A season with magical powers. The comedy, the pranks, and action moments would be plentiful. Arguably, Magi Ranger and Mystic Force did use their magic fine, but they could have done wacky cool episodes with those powers. Dark Wish focused on misusing them. That could have been done in other areas. Toby caught them and they were forced to erase his memory. That could have been a subplot to everyone feeling bad doing it, which would continually be built on till something goes wrong. Transforming into different things. Pink did it in Magi Ranger, but they almost never did that for fight advantages. Change their size, turn into monsters. The whole Nick mystery. No one ever thought of going into his mind or traveling to the past to see it from Udana's perspective. That mystery could have been done much more better. The magical realm alone could be a common location like Asgard. The 10 Terrors are a cool concept, but they end up being normal size 90% of the time. With animation, we could have full episodes as giant fights. I wanted to see more Claire learning stuff, screwing up, getting better, turning people into oranges. Fireheart could be used every episode. Lots of things could be done.
Jungle Fury.
One of the things the series lacked was proper backstory to the Order of the Claw and Daishi. We never got to see why this happened, who Daishi was beyond generic evil. With animation, they could do flashbacks for both sides, but showing the past and present of Jungle Fury. We got all these glimpses with RJ and his father, the different powers of the forces, the mentor roles, but Geki Ranger did this side better, which is one of the bigger things what made JF not feel whole. The spiritual side got ignored, but that's what made JF unique. I think they should have leaned into it more. The animated series could delve into a full team of Spirit Rangers, including their animal spirits. Use the Master Shafu suit. In animation, these things would play out better. You can get them to look and move more stylized versus live action. You'd totally buy this side of JF.
Lost Galaxy.
LG would be a gold mine for stories. The series was basically Star Trek. They've traveled through space, looking for a new world to settle on. With the series, they couldn't do this. Most of the conflicts came to them. With an animated series, they could show Terra Venture stopping at various planets. It doesn't have to be this lone space station. The universe doesn't have to show its bad side every single time. It'd be nice to explore how do they get their resources. These type of issues could lead us to the Galactic Beast homeworld. How are they linked to the Quasar Sabers? How were the Quasar Sabers forged? What was Magna Defender's homeworld like? The Rangers could go there. We could have stories around the colony. Being able to visit all the other domes the station had. They could stop at KL-35 where we see the Space Rangers, get a hint of Andros building the Mark II megaship. Who made the Galaxy book? And tackle that big question of who Scorpius married. How did that work? Did they first start off like humans, then turn into bugs? That part always confuses me.
Alien Rangers.
I can't think of any other team that badly needs it. The Alien Rangers backstory is worse than even Megaforce's. I'd say this would work as a pre/post story. Think Ben 10 Omniverse, where they switch between the two time periods, just done better. We can get to see Aquitar, how monsters like the Hydro Contaminator invaded their planet. Why the Alien Ranger powers look the same from Ninjors. They could possibly use them as a way to explain some of the Super Megaforce Sentai suits. Kind of like they're a Guardian special unit of the galaxy. That would explain why they helped out Earth. You could do anything with these guys. They could live for a long time, so you could see them in Time Force. I always had the theory Ninjor was from Aquitar. He wasn't an Aquitarian, but he was taught by them, which would be the reason why his Ranger powers are similar to theirs. This is the advantage of having a second season. It doesn't have to be aimed for adults or anything. Avengers Earth's Mightiest Heroes worked on all kinds of levels. It didn't exclude. That's what would make animation stand out. You don't want it to be a carbon copy of the live action show. There has to be a bonus from it. And it would allow Hasbro to promote other season toys. The Lightning Collection is great, but if you have Alien Rangers a part of a season, you'd like to have something from the show.
Time Force.
This could almost be like what Galactica 1980 was supposed to be. To show what their main job was. Visit different time periods while people are attempting to alter history. That was Time Force's thing. It could work in many ways. Some educational moments for kids. Backstory on Earth. They could revisit basically any past PR episode. That's the biggest loss Time Force could have given the series. It would work great as an anniversary season. There's no limit in ideas. It'd be cool to see a Harry Potter type of episode where they secretly help behind the scenes in moments. Take Chase into space. Someone could have helped Alpha find the decoder box for the Astro Megaship so they were able to escape faster. Maybe said person lost a loved one in another timeline, but helping them get off Earth quicker saved them. Now, what would they want to do? Fix it or leave this change alone? We could see Alex's side during Time Force. Maybe Alex didn't fake his death on purpose, but at the order of someone higher up. Explain how SPD formed from Time Force. I always pictured it being one big paradox where Time Force created itself. The powers were the starting point of SPD, eventually evolving into Time Force. Maybe Sky's father was given Wes's powers, but he had to keep an oath of no one knowing they were from the future. They formed SPD as a replacement for the Silver Guardians, returned the tech to the future. Maybe that's why Sky's father died. Or we can have a post-season, seeing how good Rancic and Nadira pay off their criminal time. Since Rancic was turned human, maybe he became a Time Force officer. Basically a role model. You see this horrible man that turned good would give a positive example to any criminal. It'd be an interesting take. Hyperforce could be added in here too. Who says Rancid can't be the 6th Ranger of Hyperforce? Other cool things would be seeing Wes's rich life. This didn't get much focus. I wish the show had a full Mr. Collins episode so we could see what Wes and his father go through on a daily basis, including information on his mother. We never knew who she was. Maybe that's why Wes started to resent him. Something could have gone wrong in that relationship.
Super Megaforce.
If you want a way for Power Rangers to be an anthology series where you capitalize on everything, Super Megaforce would be your best option. With no live action restrictions, this series could bring in anyone. Tell really good action episodes, story episodes. What have they been up to episodes? Super Megaforce is PR's Avenger or Justice League. Characters can rotate in and out. With this, it would allow different opinions on how to run the team, deal with monsters, get insight from the experience, as well as allow suit upgrades, more legendary Zord combos, visit all the locations. We could see Mariner Bay or Angel Grove. It would give a chance to see updated places such as the Juice Bar in present day. Anything is possible. It's a shame that Toy and or Hasbro don't seem to want to try this.
In space.
I believe space would be the best use of this format. One of the things that lacked in the run of the season was that we never got to see from Zordon or Dark Spectre's point of view. It was because they didn't have a lot of money. In this new format, we could see all of their motivations on why they were doing this, how each of the villains interact with each other, disagreements, ways they avoid the Rangers, while also show more planets being devastated, not just KL-35. See the fights on Aquitar, the Gold Ranger, Blue Centurion, that dread of being outmatched. It never felt so daunting till the final episodes. The worst part was leaving Zane to pick up the pieces on his planet, then getting his Megazord. We should have seen those things. It would have been cool to see Zordon with a few other characters building the Astro and Mega Voyager. See how he anticipated his capture. Show how he uses that time warp to his advantage. What happened to Alpha 5 during the initial attack? Was he safe or was Edenoi attacked just as badly? Dark Spectre needed more screen time. With animation, he could speak, he could move around, he could fight. See why all the villains follow him. Show why he needs Astronema. I would like to know why. Maybe she was there to lure Zordon. Maybe being from KL-35, she designed the chamber that drained his energy. Animation is a valuable tool. Marvel and DC has used it for decades, creating lots of fun and good adaptations of their comics. In some cases, tell better stories than the movies because they have more time to develop them. Animation grants them the scale to execute these stories. I never want live action PR to ever go away. That alone is unique in a sea of animated kids shows, but it does have its limitations. If used right, take DC, they have animated series for kids, everyone, and movies geared older. They try to give you stories for all types of people, and you can watch any of them. Hasbro and Toy could and should do something similar. Fans always want actors to come back. What happened to Zenaku and Merrick? What did Bulk and Skull do between Lost Galaxy and Samurai? Team-ups could be moved over to special animated movies, or bigger stories the writers would like to tell and be separated from stock footage. Bring life to the comic stories. A lot of these are really good ideas. Yes, there are things to be careful with. You don't want one show to cannibalize the other, and you have to expect animation takes time. You'd have to be patient, but I think having the shows would give more to the franchise. What do you guys think? How would you like to see an animated series done, or would you rather it not be done at all? New episodes every Monday, fan commentaries every Tuesday. Next week, I'll be discussing the 10 worst episodes from the Saban era of Power Rangers. If you like my content, consider leaving a like and subscribing. Due to fair use abuses from the various companies, I no longer feature footage from the various episodes. Thank you for understanding. See you in the next video.